Cleveland Cavaliers trade rumors continue to heat up as we have new details surrounding Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Dean Wade, Jarrett Allen, and more here on Cavs Digest today. The Cleveland Cavaliers coming off a big win against New Orleans Pelicans where they absolutely world-starred them. And that's two back-to-back wins for the Cavaliers as they continue to try to get hot at the right time. But that does not mean that trade rumors are going to slow down at all, especially with how slow the start was. We're going to talk about those details today here on Cavs Digest. I'm your host, Matt Palange, ready to talk about what is going on with the Cavaliers. Before we get started, make sure you immediately hit that subscribe button and like this video as you can stay updated with everything, all things Cavaliers. The small news, the big news, the pre-game, post-game thoughts, all that stuff that you can stay updated with, because just under 72% of you are not subscribed, and you're going to be missing out on a lot of details. So let's dive into it. Happy Christmas Eve. Let's talk about the Cavaliers today. We're going to start off. Apparently, Donovan Mitchell is now being talked about by some analysts, some insiders, referring to the fact that due to the Cavs situation, do not be surprised if you hear Donovan Mitchell's name mentioned by other GMs and opposing teams when it comes to making a trade with the Cavaliers. Sure, I do agree that they are likely untouchable, and I'm going to talk about those details from Brett Siegel, as well as Mike Escato, who actually talked about Donovan Mitchell in a video I'm going to show you right here. But Donovan Mitchell might be a name that's going to be brought up because teams are just going to shoot their shot like, hey, they think that the Cavs are vulnerable right now. Hey, Donovan Mitchell, you available? Let me trade you Rui Hachimura for him straight up. No, I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. So here's the video of what Mike Escato had to say about the current Cleveland Cavaliers trade updates. Let's go.
But there's been a lot of chatter out there about teams looking to call on guys like Darius Garland. If a team needs a Jarrett Allen, for example, those are usually the two guys. And then some teams will be really star-driven and shoot down and say, hey, would you ever think of moving Donovan Mitchell?
So that is what Mike Escato believes and what he hears, what he knows surrounding Donovan Mitchell and co. about trade details for the team, just any details in general. He mentions after that he doesn't believe he's going to hear much about Mitchell. So I really don't jump the gun thinking that anything's going to happen. And again, these are just details we know, guys. I'm not sitting here saying, yeah, people want Donovan Mitchell, guys. The Cavs want to trade Donovan Mitchell. It's not going to happen. And this Brett Siegel updates will reassure that Donovan Mitchell is not being traded. That is not necessarily the case. Mitchell and Mobley are not going anywhere, and Cleveland doesn't have any reason to give up on Garland and Allen yet. Although the Cavaliers are likely to make a change to their roster early in the new year, many around the league have downplayed Koby Altman making a drastic change to his roster, sources said via Brett Siegel, I think it was Clutch Points. So that reassures Mitchell and Mobley. I think we can all agree Mitchell and Mobley are not going to be touched, guys. Donovan Mitchell will be a Cavalier. Although, when we got this update that there were teams shooting their shot at Mitchell, per Mike Escato, it kind of opens our eyes like, hey, are the Cavs vulnerable right now? Now, after the last two wins, yes, it was against an 8-win team and a 10-win team or whatever. But the Cleveland Cavaliers did look really good, and that's 2 games in a row where Merrill has been back. So Sam Merrill might just be kind of the difference maker. He might be that X-Factor glue guy. I'll make a video on him soon. But he is absolutely the key to the Cleveland Cavaliers winning and continuing their success. So if Sam Merrill is healthy, now that the Cavaliers are kind of hitting health, I don't know how likely it is that they make a trade at all, but it's just cool to share updates and see updates with like this. So now we're going to talk about more trade details. So I hope you guys stayed because there's actually a lot more. 2 other guys are going to be talked about today. Boom. The Cavs rejected at least 2 trade offers for rotation players. I believe that there is a couple guys, and it's funny because I mentioned Dean Wade. He's averaging like 16 points in his last 2 games, which is so funny to me. The last 2 games he plays well. The Cleveland Cavaliers are just splashing the ball. I want to see them continue it over the season, but maybe they're going to continue to get hot. So, but yeah, Dean Wade is what I'm going to be talking about because I actually saw this as well. Dean Wade is the player to monitor. Boom. So now Dean Wade time. We talked about Mitchell. We're going to dive into some Dean Wade details. So some of you guys love so much. As I said, recently Dean Wade's actually been really good. The last 2 games against the Hornets and Pelicans, but the whole team was good both those games. So take it with a grain of salt. But I actually saw a TikTok about Dean Wade, hey, will not be tolerated, and someone was like, yes, it will. It's something crazy. But just going to finish off with the Mitchell stuff, obviously having MVP type of season, this is a Donovan Mitchell masterclass this year, and this is just unbelievable statistically from the field, from the three, point per game, rebounds, assists, everything he's doing is phenomenal. So I don't think they're going to trade him. So now we can officially go over into Dean Wade details. So Dean Wade is not a guy that a lot of Cavs fans are so high on because they do believe that he doesn't bring enough to the floor because his confidence is low. He doesn't shoot the ball enough, so it doesn't seem like he brings enough. Yes, he's a good defender, but he just doesn't shoot the ball enough. So it kind of looks like he brings nothing on offense. He's averaging 5 points a game, I believe 5 rebounds. He's not really doing too much, and he does play a good amount of minutes. He plays just over 23 minutes a game. And he's just not bringing enough to the floor when he's on the court. And that's really, really disappointing me and a lot of fans because this is a guy that gets paid $6 million. You have to be able to play worth $6 million. But let me tell you why this Cavs trade details almost means nothing for Dean Wade. He's on an expiring contract, guys. Dean Wade is on an expiring contract. So why would you you can trade him to, there's teams that would want to get rid of a contract. The guys that are going to want Dean Wade are going to want to just get rid of somebody for nothing. Dean Wade is that nothing. Not because he is nothing, but because his contract is expiring. So let's say Stephon Castle was bad, okay? And the Spurs wanted to get rid of him. I don't know why that's the name that came to mind. Maybe because the Spurs just wanted to get Stephon yesterday. But Stephon Castle is, really bad, and the Spurs just really want to dump him off. They'll dump him off for a guy like Dean Wade, because Dean Wade's contract's going to expire, so they basically just clear off a contract, right? That's essentially what teams would want from Dean Wade. So the Cavs really aren't going to get much for him, in my opinion, because he's on an expiring deal. So I think if you do see no future with Dean Wade on the Cavaliers, you might as well just ride it out and let him remain as a Cavalier until his contract expires anyways. So, and of course, Darius Garland, he's been on a roll. I don't realistically see anything happening with him. Of course, I don't see anything happening with anyone. They're rejecting offers. Teams are shooting their shot. Teams are going to monitor players. There's going to be stuff happening. I don't realistically see anything happening with Darius Garland, but I do think there are going to be teams that desperately want a point guard or a center, such as Jarrett Allen. And Jarrett Allen has kind of brought a little bit of regression on the... This was he was fully healthy, played 82 games last year, so very, very impressive. He actually just hit his first three, I think, of his Cavalier. I don't know, he might have hit one before, but I don't think he hit one last year or this year, and he just hit one yesterday, so big shout out to him for hitting a three-pointer. I do believe that in his absolute peak form, Jarrett Allen can play well. There's times where he goes soft, but he would be a lob threat, he'd be a pick-and-roll threat, and he could be just a rebounding threat, just a center in general, just a solid starting center that could really, really help. That could just, in general, help this team. That could help a lot of teams that need a center. The Lakers do have DeAndre Ayton. I don't think they're going to. The Lakers need a center. I don't think it's going to happen that bad right now. I don't really see it happening. I don't see the Cavs making a deal, especially because now that Merrill's back and the Cavs have 11-3 with him, which is so crazy. He's the team's X factor, but I think that it's just going to come down to how much the Cleveland Cavaliers or how desperate the Cleveland Cavaliers are amid the injuries from Darius Garland and Max Strus just around the season, and Evan Mobley, and just see how at the deadline how it goes. I think Strus is going to come back right before All-Star break. He might wait till after, but he played pretty well in the playoffs last year until the Game 5 against the Pacers, of course. I do think the Cavaliers really, really need him back at this point just to kind of add another scoring threat. I think DeAndre Hunter is going to be a guy to monitor. I think there could be a lot of things happening with the Cavs, but I think they're most likely just going to weather out the storm, ride it out, and see what happens in this season. So let me know what you guys think about these trade details. Let me know what you guys think, your opinion on trading players. Shout out the Cavaliers for winning 2 straight. We're going to keep you guys updated with that. So go Cavs. They play tomorrow on Christmas. I'm not sure if I'll have a video. I probably won't. But I want to say Merry Christmas to all of you who celebrate. Happy Christmas Eve today. And as always, thank you guys for joining me on Cavs Digest. Make sure you like, subscribe to this video. Comment below your thoughts. Share this video with your friends. And everyone, have a happy holidays.